Thanks, Roger, and delighted to be able to join you tonight and join so many friends from across Europe just now. It's obviously a sad evening in many ways, but also one I think where we're trying to look ahead with some optimism after a very difficult year. And hopefully this can be, as many other people have commented already, beginning of a chance to connect with each other in different ways. My name's Jamie Cook. I live just outside Glasgow in Scotland. And as you can imagine, this is a very bittersweet far more bitter moment for us in many ways here in Scotland. We've very consistently had a very strong public support for our membership of the EU in Scotland, both in the Brexit vote and ever since. And so for us to be hitting this final moment of moving out and losing the rights, the citizenship and the opportunities that we've enjoyed for so long, I think is a very, very strange and very upsetting and very challenging moment for us here in Scotland and across the UK. And I think, as you've seen from many of our political commentators and politicians here in Scotland, but also from civic society, that kind of heartfelt plea to leave a light on, to keep that door open for us, I think is one that we definitely want to reiterate to all of our friends across Europe. I think one of the things that's really struck me about this entire period, both going into the referendum, the vote itself, and then this chaotic period ever since, has been how, in some ways, I feel that many of us who are very pro-European, who have that natural affinity and respect for the connection we had, perhaps took it too much for granted. Perhaps have allowed the language and the conversations and the media representations to be dictated by other parts of society. For many of the real positives of our European Union membership to be lost, to be taken for granted, to not be celebrated. And I think that's a very important lesson for us at this point, that we need to really start to have that message of connectivity put across much stronger than it has been before. I have 3 kids sitting next door, one of them asleep, 2 next door playing games. And they're going into a world where they're not going to have many of the benefits that I've taken for granted through my whole life. That ability, as others have talked about, to move, to appreciate other countries in the same way. I'm very lucky in that I get to travel with a lot of the work I do, with a lot of the topics I work on. A lot of the natural connections are with other countries of the EU. And to suddenly have that disconnect, I think really has impacted in a very powerful and difficult way. And I think in some ways it seems strange to say, as we hit this day now, that I don't think I've really started processing it fully in terms of what it will mean, in terms of what that loss will look like. But I think it does open up a space for us to have to confront where we are, and therefore how we can start to build positively out of it. I think there's no doubting that this has thrown into sharp relief a lot of the challenges that the UK faces, a lot of the language that was used to sell Brexit. I think, unfortunately, we already know wasn't based in reality, wasn't based in truth. But I think, unfortunately, we're going to start to see the harsh realities of that really start to hit home for some very vulnerable people across the UK. And I think it's important that we find a way to try and bring together the disconnects that have been there, the polarisation that we've seen between different communities. I think that time of trying to blame particularly communities, maybe some of the people who sold the myths, we can maybe keep that blame going. But I think in terms of the communities who were brought along with them, we need to find the ways to start to bring them back together. I think as well, for whatever wish and hope may have been behind some of the push that led to Brexit, the UK will not stop being European. And I think it's important that we all keep that alive and well. And certainly here in Scotland, we will not stop being European. We're very proud of the fact that we are a European nation and that we will continue to be very connected and very much looking to build those relationships. And I find already that in some ways the dialogue and the openness that we can now start to have with other partners across Europe is opening up, because now that Brexit is starting to move to this final conclusion, we're actually able to have some of the conversations that have been perhaps stuck in stasis for the last few years. We had an event recently through my work with partners in Germany. It was really interesting to see the openness, the connectivity, the ambition that started to come out there about what Scotland and the rest of Europe can start to explore together. And I think critically that shows how important a group like New Europeans is, that we need that forum to continue to bring us together, to keep us talking, to keep us connected and to keep us working together. Because at the end of the day, I think some of these losses that we're experiencing, profound and heartbreaking as they are, don't have to stop those relationships and that connection that we have. So 2020 has been a horrendous year, you know, hearing before from speakers about the trips we've missed out on, the opportunities to see each other that hasn't been able to take place this year. But hopefully, as we start to move into a new year, even with all the difficulties ahead of us, and we know that COVID is still going to be around for a while to come, we know that Brexit's not started to show its true bite and colours yet in many ways. But I think there is a chance for us to start to build out of it. I think there is a chance for us to start to renew that vision that we can have for a progressive coalition across Europe. And certainly, I think I would be very happy to speak for most of my fellow Scots in saying that we're very keen to have that relationship. We're very keen to have those discussions going. And we look forward to building with all of you that new opportunity in 2021 and beyond. So I just want to wish you a very happy Hogmanay, as we would say here in Scotland for the last couple of hours. I hope that 2021 does bring more power and opportunity and progress for us all. And that by the end of next year, when hopefully we can come together again, we can be starting to look together for more positive opportunities in future. So stay safe, take care, and I look forward to working with you all in future.